Hold on. It claims the mic is working now. Let me see if this is actually true. Hey.
Am I now audible? Can you hear me? If I just put my laptop over here, is the sound working? Oh my God, this is just. Hey, good, it does work. Oh my God, I hate technology. I don't know why it doesn't work for my desktop. All right, so we can do something here. Let me like that. Okay. All right. So we got something going on now. We can do this. Hi, Ninja Weasel. Hi, everybody else. Hello. God, this is not how this kind of technology is supposed to work. It's literally just freakity frackity supposed to work, man. Put up my laptop so on the microphone. So I apologize for all the noise. Oh yeah. What a mess. Oh, well, we were supposed to be doing a live review of this book, but you know, technology it just works, doesn't work. I know. Don't I know the truth of that statement? Because that is hyper true. Man, it's a shame because it kind of took the wind out of my sails, dude. I was like all like, oh yeah, we're gonna be like talking about a comic book here and stuff. And now I don't want to. Now I just kind of want to be like, screw this, I'm going home. The angle of all this got messed up. Something must have got bumped over here. I don't even know. I'll fix it later. This doesn't look right. Anyway, it came out on a Wednesday, which is funny because this is a Wednesday, and it sure didn't come out today. It came out on a Wednesday, just not this one. Just not this one. And I guess from now on, if I want to stream with StreamYard, man, I'm just going to have to get my laptop out. It's sitting right over here, which means it's like Facecam City. Although right now, if you could see the picture, it's just like looking at my lamp on the ceiling, because that's exactly what you want to stream. Oh. One of these days, man. Anyway, we can actually get to the meat of this thing. So, comic book review. It came out on Wednesday. Let me turn it sideways so you can see this pretty cool looking monster cover, man. Like, I am diggity down with the Minity Monster. And line up on your Patreon. Oh, let me highlight that as soon as it pops over my StreamYard chat. I applaud your sentiment. I was thinking about just taking like the Berkeley computation window thing I have going and just like putting that up on stream and just like streaming to Twitch 24/7, put on like lo-fi beats to study by, and then you can just like watch the processing happen. Like, who knows how many views I would get with that? Probably more than I get doing this, which is kind of sad. Yeah, it's a pretty dope monster. Let's see, Elliot Fernandez, he did a book on, I forget if it was Indiegogo or Kickstarter recently. It might still be in demand. It's called Doom Kickers, I think. You know what? We'll flip this open. I bet it says that in the interview with him. So let's open this up. So it came out on Wednesday. It's an anthology series. There's really only 3 stories in this one, which is a little different. Usually, I mean, yeah, there's Mr. Crypt. Usually there's more. There's like a couple shorter, like 2 or 3 pagers or something. Seeing just kind of like so few stories. It feels weird. How many pages are in this? Is that last story really that long? Yeah, I guess that last story really is that long. I'm just trying to edge into the picture so you can see without spoiling it. Well, let's just get to it. So we got, well, I guess it's not a story. That's a story. So Overturned, that's kind of interesting. We'll talk about that in a second. Pinboy, Mr. Crypt, and Team KS1, with art by Frankie B. Washington, who very much enjoys drawing giant monsters, which is great because it's a story featuring, if you didn't guess it, a giant monster. Who could have possibly guessed that would be the case? Not me, that's for sure. Not me. Looking at the StreamYard, I'm wondering, like, I'm looking over here, why are you losing grasp on my microphone? It doesn't make any sense. What's a twist? Oh, man. I still remember the ad campaign for The Village back in the day, man, where they were all pretending it was real and stuff. I actually really like that movie. I like a lot of M. Night Shyamalan's movies that nobody else seems to like. So I liked The Village. I liked some aspects of Lady in the Water. I think that movie's mostly let down by cast choices, but like the weirdness, tying fairy tales into what's happening, having people fulfill different archetypes in the stories. Like, I thought all that was pretty creative stuff. Anyway, this is fun. So you got these cool little blobby alien dude things, right? They're like, there's a thing. And now you've got one advisor who's like, this thing is clearly hostile. You get another advisor who's like, we should do diplomacy. We should talk. We should talk it out. What's the twist? Hold on, I got a... That's weird. It's not actually running. Okay, well, never mind. I thought I was having CPU problems, but I'm not. Why is my CPU running so dang hot? Usually during this, it should be over 40, but it's at 45 right now. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm getting easily distracted. I'm getting distracted by everything. Because I'm trying to avoid talking about this story, because as soon as I talk about this story, I'm going to give away, like, the punchline. Because you can kind of see there's something funny with the title. It's upside down. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, it's pretty interesting. So you got all of this like political argumentation stuff going on, and eventually, the space probe thing goes back underwater. Something bad happens. The space probe thing here goes back under rock or water or whatever it drilled through. I guess I can't really tell looking at this. But it sinks back down, stuff happens, and the aliens then go to investigate. They go to the other side. And it's got kind of a nice little punchy punchline at the end. Yeah, that was a punchline. Very gentle punchline, but it was a punchline. It's kind of fun. It should elicit like a chuckle at how that goes. The next story, I was... I'm going to fold it so you can't... We're not spoiling that story. But the next story, part of Tinseltown, man. Do I happen to have Tinseltown where I can grab it? I know you're over here. Apparently the answer to that question is it's over here, but heck if I can ever find it. Oh wait, is it in the stack? Feast or Famine, Scrimshaw, Unit 44, another copy of Feast or Famine. Let's not talk about that. Scrimshaw Volume 2, Go West, Amazing Age, Croak, 12. I know it's over here somewhere. You want to talk about frustrating. I don't even know if you guys can hear me from this far away. You want to talk about frustrating. That's frustrating. I know the book is there. Did I stick it in here? Oh, maybe it's down here in the box. Yes, it is. Oh, found it. Found it. Woo! Pro level strategy right there, guys. Thumbs up. Anyway, Tinseltown is a great little story. It's all about Miss Abigail Moore. You can see her right there. She's a cop at Utopia Studios. I think it's Utopia Studios, set in the early 1900s. It's kind of based on real life in two different ways. One is it's based on David Lucarelli's mom. She was a real cop. And it's also based on the historical, I think it was Universal Studios, way back in the day, had female cops kind of as a novelty. And she's there as a novelty, except... well, things don't always go according to the best laid plans of leadership. Let's put it that way. You know, what's the saying? No plan survives contact with the enemy. That's kind of how it goes, because that's what she's meant to be doing, and instead she's saving the day, and it's awesome. It's a great story. Highly recommend. You might still be able to get floppy copies from Alterna directly. You might be able to get this. I think Peter Smedley's working on some kind of digital plan. So you should check it out. It's a great little historical drama, mystery story, and romance. All just kind of rolled into one. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, this picks up like right after she's out of the hospital because things got crazy, man. Things got absolutely crazy. She's got out of the hospital. And, well, what do her and her potential beau want to do? If your answer was go bowling, you have a way like more highly attuned sense of what women around like 1910 were into, because bowling is not what I expected. Would you have expected that? I wouldn't have. She's really into bowling, I guess. And it's all about the treatment of the pin boys who, man, you want to talk about a job I'm glad went away? That is a job I am very glad that I went away. Ooh, hold on. A pro organizer move. Yeah, something like that, man. You want to talk about jobs I'm glad went away. Pin boys, man. I know that's a way that people could make money and stuff, but that's way too dangerous for a job. Nobody should be doing that kind of thing. Being in the firing line, where you're basically dependent on the good graces of the person at the other end of the lane to not try to murder you with a bowling ball. Not cool. Not a good time. Not upset that job went away and was replaced by a machine which could do it perfectly every time. So it's all about that, the way the pinboy is treated and stuff like that, which given the time period is not very good. It's not very good. I'm going to take a sidestep here. I got to find it. Not to talk about the comic itself, but the print, man. My Newsprint is totally folded, just like I got a newspaper in the mail. Hey, Eli Easy. We're doing this not the way I wanted to, man. I'm supposed to be using my headset right now, and I'm not. So my volume level is like going all over the place because I'm turning my head, looking at my monitor and stuff, and it kind of stinks the way I got this going. But welcome to the stream. I saw your Instagram photo. I forget if that was this morning or yesterday, where you're like, got to buy some bags and boards. I know that feeling. I'm running low. Fortunately, well, I guess from a certain perspective, it's fortunate. From a certain perspective, it's fortunate. From another one, it's unfortunate. You know, this is all the boards I have left. Fortunately, I don't have a whole lot of books coming in, so it might last me. It might last me. Who knows? Anyway, so we're at 2 out of 3 stories here. I like the first story. It was like watching an episode of Twilight Zone or something. Had a great twist at the end. The second story, the Tinseltown one, it was just a hoot. I'm not going to show you the Mr. Crypt story because it's a one-pager. If I show it to you, I will ruin and spoil the entire thing. Don't want to do that. Don't want to do that to you. So we'll just kind of move over to the next story, which is about giant monsters. And in fact, I'm just going to slap this down and let you look at this crazy giant monster right here for just a second. Hold on. I can show you the whole thing. You have to rotate your head. You have to rotate your head. But it's cool, man. Frankie B. Washington, he loves drawing giant monsters. He loves kaiju. You can tell just by looking at this stuff that he loves it. He absolutely does. Boxes. I think I'm okay on boxes. I got a plastic bin. I got a plastic bin that's totally unused. And I've got the box of the unread stuff. Once I empty it out, I can put stuff in it, which I'm probably going to need. I'm going to have to overflow something, man. I'm running out of room in several different boxes. My image boxes, I got 2 of them. The alternative boxes. DC probably has room for another 40 books. So yeah, I guess maybe I'll have to split image out into a 3rd box here, which I don't know where I'm going to put that box. I have no idea where that box is going to go. My closet is way too dang full. I'm applauding your sentiment because that sentiment is true. Everyone should love kaiju. They're just fun. They're absolutely just fun. But some people just hate them, man. Some people hate kaiju. They hate giant monsters. And I don't get it. It's like, okay, I can understand, like, if the only giant monster movie you've watched was like Godzilla's Revenge or Godzilla vs. Megalon or something like that. Yeah, okay, I can see why you might, be a little leery of giant monsters. But they're fun. They represent, like, an immovable obstacle. They represent an unstoppable force. They just are. And that's a fun concept to play around with when you have something like that. Literal forces of nature who are personified into a being who you can deal with, who you can interact with, who you can maybe try to kill, you can try to stop. The original Godzilla, science overcame Godzilla. Godzilla was a monster created by science, so science could clean up its own mistake. That was one of the lessons from that movie. I'm talking about the original Godzilla or Gojira, whichever name you like. Fantastic movie. I don't really mind the edit job they did to make Godzilla out of Gojira. Like Raymond Burr just kind of rolling in and being Raymond Burr that's just fun. I enjoyed that, man. I thought he gave a pretty good performance for a guy who's basically just recording random scenes in front of walls. A lot of other Godzilla movies are just kind of classic. I'm really partial to Terror of Mechagodzilla. I know it's not actually that good, but I like it anyway, man. Titanosaurus, all that stupid stuff. Hold on. Oh, dude, you know what? I have not watched the entirety of the 2016 Godzilla. I haven't watched. I've actually read the tie-in novel because I got that from a dollar store for like $1, but I haven't seen the movie all the way through. I've seen like the first, I don't know, 30 minutes of the movie and the last 30 minutes of the movie, and I feel like I'm not missing a whole lot in the middle. I have not seen King of the Monsters. I haven't seen Shin Godzilla either. That came out from Toho 3 years ago, something like that. I haven't seen that. I got to. I need to get around to watching that. Pretty sweet. All right, so you got this cool giant monster, and you got this team of dudes in power armor here. And what does the team of dudes in power armor do? Well, this crazy lady who's like got a hole in her head. I'm not quite sure what's up with that. This line art actually kind of reminds me of Larry King. I follow him on Twitter. I got some of his books. I've reviewed them. Hold on. Yeah, that was the Japanese Godzilla that came out somewhere. It was around the time that American Godzilla from 2016 was coming out. Anyway, she like sends them on a mission. They're gonna go deal with a giant monster. Not by themselves, but they're gonna mark like tracking beacons. And so this book's just full of like, exactly the kind of thing you would expect from a giant monster book. It's just fun, and I had a blast. And we're gonna actually step aside for a second. I got to the end of the book, looked over into the story. I got to hear, and man, this brought me down. This is absolutely I just went, boom, mood down, because they're giving shout outs to comic book stores. How many of these stores are going to be open? Is Peregrine Book Company in Prescott, Arizona going to be open after all this is over? Is Friendly Neighborhood Comics in Bellingham, Massachusetts going to be open when this is over? I don't know. It's kind of a depressing thought. So anyway, I'm trying to kind of not spoil what happened to that giant monster story, but it's guys in power armor fighting a giant monster, and everything just looks kind of cool. Like, it's exactly the story I want. Well, maybe not exactly, but it's basically the story I want. I had a good time reading it. Overall, this issue, if it came out on a Wednesday, I liked all 4 of the things in it. I didn't show you the Mr. Crippling because it's a one-pager, but the other stories, the twist and the alien story was fun. The Tinseltown story was a great addition to that storyline, to that universe. It's a great little short story. It's got a point, it's got a lesson, and it shows who the people are, what they believe in, how they interact and stuff. And then Killer Kaiju! Oh, that was just fun. So this issue, if they came out on a Wednesday, absolutely, you should check it out. Now, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this next part, because I kind of wanted to just show some art and stuff off that I'd seen. Well, a couple reasons. So, reason 1. Your paper. Paper is actually kind of expensive. If you want a high quality paper stock, you got to pay for it. I haven't looked into prices for what it would cost to print a comic book in a couple of years now. So what's in my head is probably wrong, but printing on newsprint is like half or 2/3 of the price of printing on a glossy stock. The glossy stock is just that much more expensive. So when your printer, oh boy. All right, so let's kind of step back. So let's say it costs you 50 cents. Oh man, when was the last time you actually saw somebody write the cent sign? That's got to be a long time. That is not a common sign to write. Let's go to Staples and buy some. Staples paper ain't good enough. Not really. It won't. The ink, especially on like newsprint type paper, the ink will not fix. Oh yeah, he is the Doom Kicker guy. The ink won't fix to this page as well as on a piece of paper from Staples as it will here, unless you buy like the super premium paper, but that stuff is like $1 a page. Don't do that. That's a waste of money. Hey, Mango Bed. I'm afraid you missed the review part of this. I'm responding to that comment there right now. So let's say, you know, your printer charges you 50 cents. Now, if you price your book at $1.99 because you're Alterna and you're going to sell for $2 then here's what happens. So you get the book from the printer, you sell it to Diamond. For $1, then the shop sells it to me for $1.99 or $2, you know, round off. It sure can, man. Regular paper isn't really meant for this kind of usage. So this is kind of how it works. So now let's say you want to print on a better paper stock. Well, your printer, instead of charging you 50 cents, which I pulled that number out of thin air, your printer may charge you 25 cents or something here. So this is just kind of a made up number to illustrate. Well, your fancy paper stock's going to cost you 75. So now if you're Alterna and you're selling for $1 to Diamond, then instead of making 50 cents an issue, you're now making 25. Now let's say you sell, I don't know, what number sounds good? Let's say you're a small company, you sell 2,000 copies. So now you're making 25 cents per copy for 2,000 copies. This is assuming they all get sold and they're all going through Diamond. If you're selling direct, it changes the calculus a little bit. But that's $500. 500, not 5,000. Now, do you know how much it costs if I were to commission a comic book page? If I were to go and get a good artist? Hold on. Let me see what I got in the box over here. No. I was really hoping that I had rags right here still, and I don't. So let me just grab, I don't know, what's the first mainstream book in this box? That's not a mainstream book. No, still not working for me. Here we go. All right, this is probably a bad example because Zenescope uses artists that are a little cheaper than other companies, but you're still looking at a page rate of like $100 a page for a page of sequential art. I'll get to your comment there. You're looking at like $100 a page. Well, how many pages are in a comic book? Say 20. So 20 times $100 plus we got to pay the writer too. So we're looking at like 100 for the artist, a page. The writer, let's say it's me and he works cheap, you know, we'll make that cheap. And then you're going to have the letterer. That's going to be another 25. So you're looking here, and these are lowball figures for mainstream popular books too. You're looking at $150 a page to make a comic book. I just made $500 by selling on fancy paper for $1.99. I can pay for 3 pages. Will you buy 3 pages of comic book for $199 or for $1.99? Probably not. So I'm not making any money. I'm actively losing money. Stuff like these kind of books can only really happen when the artist is either working super cheap, or the alternative, if the artist isn't working super cheap, the artist is just an independent artist and doing everything themselves. And so they're basically discounting their work to get their name out there. That's why you can't sell comic books for $1.99. There's no money in it. If you sell them for 50 cents, that just doubles this. And so we're making $1,000, making 1,000 instead of 500. And you still can't pay anybody off of that. That's making like 9 pages of a book. So I can sell you half of a book. Now there's ad revenue. That's true. And if you're smart, you sell enough ads, like here. So this back cover ad for say $100. So now we can deduct $100 from the 2,000 copies over here. So let's see, copies cost me like 50 cents each or something. You know, I'm now paying for 200 copies by selling that ad. There are problems with selling ads too. Because if you sell an ad in a book, it goes into, you can't ship it through media mail anymore. You have to ship it first class. Media mail is for materials that do not have advertisements. So if your comic book has an ad in it, you can't ship it media mail, which is cheap. If your comic book doesn't, hold on, let me, not many books that don't have ads in them. Probably not. Probably the closest thing I got to a book without ads in it is this graphic novel. This could be shipped in media mail, probably. Let's see, I don't want to dox myself with a signature. Yeah, there's not an advertisement in this. I could ship this media mail for the same price, this whole big book, probably for the same price or cheaper than you can ship this one comic book media mail or in first class. So things like advertisements, they get you money, but they also raise the cost that you have to pass on to consumers because now they have to pay more for shipping. Now, people ignore that. They ignore the rule for media mail, and they'll still ship stuff in media mail when they shouldn't. When you go back in the day, the indie books were usually more expensive. Indie books usually were more expensive. Alterna kind of flipped the script. A lot of indie publishers flipped the script. Zenoscope, who maybe they're not really indie, but they're not mainstream either. Like all their books are $3.99. Alterna is like $2, $3, or like $1.50 to $2. Marvel, DC, you're looking at $4 to $5 to $6 to $8, depending on the book. It's kind of the opposite of the paradigm, and it's because Marvel and DC pay a lot more. So they're still paying like this much per copy. They're still paying like 50 cents a copy to make it, but they're also paying like $300 a page for the artist. They're paying like $100 a page for the writer, and the letterer's probably getting. Oh, and I'm sorry, when I say artist, I'm not even counting. I'm not even splitting this out. It's really like $300 for pencils. So let me just put that here. Then you're going to be paying like $150 for the inker, another $150 for the colorist. Maybe that gets split out into like $50 for the flatter and then $100 for the actual colorist or something. But the cost to produce a page of like a DC comic, the way their page rates work, and I'm not even getting into royalties, but you're starting to look at like, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $800. Because there's also like $50 for the letterer here. You're looking at like $800 per page for the stuff that goes into the page, not even counting any of the physical cost per copy for just producing a page. So now you've got to sell 5K units or more at like $5 to make any profit, because that'll get you $25,000. That'll cover this, that'll cover that. You throw in your ad revenue, you probably have ameliorated your printing costs to where printing is basically free. And so you're looking at maybe breaking even on a bad selling book. If you look at any of those Marvel books or DC books that are hovering around like the 5,000 mark, they're probably here. They're just barely breaking even. If you look at books that sell like 40,000 or something, they're actually making a profit on those books. Okay, let's pop back up here. Now I'm going to read all your comments here and address them. I know I got carried away scribbling stuff. So honestly, I really like what Alterna does. But I don't know how anybody involved in this, including Peter, is making any money. I really don't. Unless he's getting a lot more money from ad sales and these things, I don't see how he's turning a profit that you can live on. And maybe I need to sit down and analyze the math better, because this is all just kind of back of the envelope stuff. I'm not really putting a business case together. I'm just kind of, explaining my mental model about this. Let's see. That's a good laugh, man. If you count ad pages, I think that's true. But if you count content pages in a comic book, it probably comes out for most books to be more like 20. You know what? Let's do it. We have a comic book right here. The standard mainstream comic book. 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 24. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, look, there's no ads so far. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh no, we're gonna hit 28. Maybe 30. Probably 32, because of the way the signatures work. Yeah, so that's 16 at the spine. Are there any ads at the back? So we've got one ad, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we got 10 pages of ads. So that's 22 pages of content right there. I think that's pretty standard. I think if I flip through a DC book, it's like 20 to 22 pages. Marvel books like 20, 22 pages. Depends on if you count that inside, like we're just going to give you a wall of text that Marvel likes to do as part of the book or not. Let's see. Oh, talked about that one. When you go back in the indie books, are usually more expensive. That's absolutely true. It's less true today. I know I talked about this already, but if you go back, gosh, I could go dig some stuff out of my short box. I'm not going to, because I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. But I remember seeing indie books from like 1988 that were $2.99. That's an absolutely tremendous price point. That is huge. That is a lot of money. In fact, I don't even think I have $2.99 in my literal wallet here. Let's find out. Oh, I take it back. I got a $5 in here. I'm rich, man. I got $5. I don't know what I'm going to spend money on because we're all in lockdown, but I'm rich. I got $5 whole bucks. But yeah, I have seen many examples of like 80s indie books that were way more expensive than contemporary books. It'd be like $2, $3 for an indie book in the 80s, whereas Marvel, 75 cents to $1. Wise words. There are exceptions. If you're shipping something in a Gemini, it'll probably survive media mail. But and some shippers will do that. I've gotten books in the mail that have come media mail. They shouldn't have, because they were commercial comic books with advertisements in them, but they've come via media mail. A lot of times you can get away with it, but if the postal inspector opens it up and he sees a comic book, he's going to get mad because there's an ad in a comic book. They'll probably even get mad if there aren't ads, because they see a comic book and they think, oh, that's something with an ad in it, without sitting down and looking through the whole thing. It's just what they do. Postal regulations, man, they are obscure, and they're obscure for a reason. They don't want you to know the truth, because you can't handle the truth. Yeah, they do. Well, that's because they can sell more number ones. They know they're going to sell more number ones, so they're trying to make that sweet, sweet cash while they can. It's kind of backwards. Introductory issues should be cheap. They should pull people in. You should sell gobs of them. You should absolutely. Amazing Mary Jane #1 probably should have sold like 10 times what it sold, and it probably should have been priced at half the price. Because I didn't buy it the first week it came out. I love that book now that I've bought it and I'm reading it. But that first week it came out, I was kind of leery. It's like, I don't know. This is probably not going to be good. And then like a week or two later, I bought it on a lark, and I liked it. And if it had been like $3 instead of $4 or $5, whatever the book costs, I don't remember off the top of my head, I might have bought it that first week, because that's getting more towards impulse purchase territory, when it's only like, oh yeah, it's like $2. Here, I would get $2 out of my wallet, but I just literally have a 5 in there. So if I throw a 5 across the camera, it's just kind of not really going to carry the point across that I want to make. Look out for Marvel probably costs over $5,000 to make minimum. Oh, I guarantee you that book costs a whole heck of a lot more. Unless they're paying their artists like garbage, it costs a whole heck of a lot more. Geez, $800 a page. And this is kind of conservative too. All-star artists and writers get paid way more than this. You think Jeff Johns only makes $100 a page? No. On the other hand, if you look at page rates, and this information leaked out, I think it was a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. Page rates for some of the other publishers were kind of garbage. Like Archie, was it Archie? Archie was paying like $50 a page for art. Boom was paying like $25 a page. The artists who work at those rates are underselling their talent. They are too good to be working for that kind of money. If you go look at an Archie book, if it's following the Archie House style, which is a very simple but elegant and demanding style, because you have to adhere to it strictly, those guys deserve to be paid way more than whatever that rate was. It was like 25, 30, 50 bucks, something like that. Most publishers were down there. Whereas publishers like DC and Marvel, the way DC attracts Sean Gordon Murphy is they go, hey man, how would you like $500 a page or whatever? Like that dude is going to make a couple $1,000,000 off of his books from DC. And sure, those books are a little more expensive. They're on super primo paper. They're beautiful and gorgeous. And except for kind of how they end, both White Knight series has been pretty fun. I've been kind of let down by the ending of both, but the series themselves were pretty fun. So I don't see how anybody makes any money in this business, really. Let's see. Holy crapola! I hope that was a graphic novel or something. Like I've got a square-bound book, Gilgamesh 2 or something. I think it was like that kind of price. I've got a volume of manga, a whole, 100 and something pages, Golgo 13 over on my shelf somewhere. That was like $7.95 originally. That's obscene for an indie book in that time. Oh, it was 80 pages. Okay, well, that's more understandable. You can kind of get away with that because then you're starting to talk like a trade, especially if it was square bound, because if it's square bound, you can add like $1 to the price because that's considered premium. We've all been there. Yep. This is something that I haven't spent a lot of time studying. I'm not super familiar with how this would work with comic book stores. I know a little bit, just a little bit about how this works with newsstand. And this knowledge that I'm about to speak mostly comes secondhand from listening to Alterna Comics, Peter Samedi. Oh, look, Alterna Comics right here. Talking about his experience with newsstand. And newsstand kind of sucks. I knew it did like a long time ago. There's a reason, and we'll talk about why I'm talking about newsstand here in a second. There's a reason that most comic book publishers are out of the newsstand business. It's brutal. Newsstand is absolutely, positively, completely brutal. It's like getting into a knife fight. You want a good spot on the shelf? You got to pay for it. You want to be on the shelf at all? You got to pay for it. The store or the vendor who's selling your books doesn't just buy your books. They buy your books and charge you to sell them. So if you want to be like on eye level, guess what? It's like an extra $100 a pocket. You want to be in those pockets at all? You got to rent the pocket to put a book in. It's a brutal business. Now, not all newsstand works like that, but a lot of it does. It's very pay to play. If you go, in fact, that's the way a lot of retail works. If you go into Walmart or you go into Kroger or Winn-Dixie or Albertsons or any store like that, and you're walking along and you see things at eye level, right at eye level for an average height human being, probably a woman, depending on the goods, those items are on that eye level shelf because somebody has paid to place them on that eye level shelf. The newsstand business is the same way. That stuff that's in the front row, eye level, when you go into Barnes & Noble, somebody paid to put those books there. That's why whenever I was looking for comic books in Barnes & Noble, they were always like shoved on the bottom, in the corner, behind something else. You couldn't find them. That wasn't always true, because there was that one time they were on like an end cap over in the book section. That was kind of cool. Unfortunately, that was like Titan books and stuff. I don't really care about their comic line. But yeah, it's a cutthroat business. And the other thing that makes it cutthroat is it has returnability. The problem is the scanners, or the people that do the scanning, don't really care. So let's say, do I have it came out on a Wednesday over here? No, I think I put it came out on a Wednesday. Anyway, just imagine I go up and I've got like 4 comic books and they're all alternative books. And what happens is the person sees, oh, they're all priced, $1.50 or $1.99 or whatever. And they just scan the first one. They just go boop, 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 4 times. It might have been 4 different books, but they just scanned it 4 times. So now when the numbers get reported back to the distributor goes, well, we bought 2 of these from you, but you sold 4. And that means we had to mark as unsold and destroyed these 2 other books over here. So you need to issue us a refund. It's an absolutely brutal business. It helps protect stores, but if stores aren't doing things correctly, it hurts the publisher more than it helps the store. I hope that's making sense, because the distributor in the middle is going to get their money no matter what happens. They're going to make sure they get paid, and they're the gateway between here and here. Fortunately, in newsstand, there's multiple different distributors and stuff, and you can kind of go different routes and explore different deals, especially if you have something that's high volume, like if you're selling like, Maxim or Cosmo or something. Like, you can probably like deal with those weird variations and still sell a lot of books and still make a profit, because ultimately magazines are making most of their money from the ads anyway. I don't think most comic books make most of their money from the ads. Maybe they do. Maybe DC does, because DC can afford to put like comic book art for the product being sold in their comic books, which is awesome. And I always enjoy reading those little mini comics. Sometimes they're better quality than the actual book is, which is kind of an odd thing. So does returnability help the industry? I think the answer to that question is it helps more than it hurts, because it will help protect comic book stores. It will help make publishers have to publish higher quality products so that they are not returned. But getting to the point where you're using returnability is a pain, because now stores have to vouch that they're actually doing what they say they're doing. And that's not always true. I have been in more than one comic book store where they have had returnable books. DC has done that for several books in the last year, for example. And I've been in comic book stores where the covers are ripped. I don't know if you know how that works in the publishing industry. If a book is marked unsold and destroyed, and I wish I had an example handy. Hold on, I might. Give me a second. No, I guess not. I thought oh, here it is. Here it is. I was hoping for a novel. This isn't what I was looking for, because I used to have an old copy of like The Hobbit or something that had the cover ripped. But here we go. This is Joker Harley, or Harley Joker Criminal Sanity #1. Cover's ripped. That means that this book, before it got into my hands, either the person I got it from ripped it, which is entirely possible because they hated the book or something. That's why they just gave it to me. But I doubt that. My suspicion is they got this from a comic book store where it was just stacked up somewhere. Like, please take them. Take them. Get rid of them. Actually, I don't remember how I got this book, now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter. But this would have been marked unsold and destroyed. This is a book that the publisher was not paid for and that the shop got a refund for. That's unethical. And if stuff like that is going to happen, then it's going to end up hurting the industry. And the actual like mainstream publishing industry has been dealing with this particular issue for decades. And I don't think they have a solution, because if you go to a yard sale, you will see a lot of books with the covers ripped. They're out there, they're floating around. And that's a bad thing. That's essentially theft. That's essentially theft. When I say essentially, I guess I mean that literally is. And now I feel like I should get rid of that book. It's not that good of a book anyway, if I'm honest. So there are issues like that you got to wrangle with. And I think to get to the point where returnability starts actually helping the industry, there's going to be a lot of pain. Shopkeepers will have to be told what it means, what their responsibilities are contractually, why they can't just give a ripped book away to somebody, for example. And then the actual publishers themselves, they're going to have to deal with all the issues of, well, we have to make things that aren't going to be returned. Every issue of Batman has to be so good that it's going to sell out. Because if it's not, we're going to get 100,000 copies back. Even Watchmen, if you go back, here's another reason to bring up newsstand. For returnable products that go to newsstand, the typical sell-through rate is less than half the copies get sold. So they all get destroyed. So like Watchmen, which sold, like 160,000 units or something per issue back in the 80s, well, that was mostly to newsstands, or at least those are the newsstand sales, which means that really like 120,000 copies of each issue was pulped. It was destroyed. So whether that's they sent the book to a recycler to get it actually literally pulped, turned to paper, or they ripped the covers and sent them back to the distributor, who then told the publisher that the books were destroyed, whatever, there's 100,000 copies of Watchmen that, or so, maybe it's 80,000. So there's a large number of copies of Watchmen that were just destroyed, despite what the sales figures said, because the sales figures are what the distributors would send out, not counting not less what came back from returns. So even Watchmen didn't sell as many copies as it should have, or as it could have. It sold a lot fewer than you would think it did on paper. And so you have to make it so that every copy of Batman that you ship out gets sold. So either you're now underprinting everything, which will eventually kill demand because people can't find your products, or you keep selling and now you got a bunch of returns coming back and you can't do anything with them. So that's a very persnickety problem. You got to make your quality so good that nobody wants to return it. How do you do that? I have no idea. Alternative Comics does have that one program they do where stores can send the books back to Alterna and like exchange them out for other books or whatever. And I guess they just pay shipping like on that transaction. I'm not being a store, I'm not too keen on the details of how that works. I think that's probably a better approach. But on the other hand, that really only works for Alterna because they're small. If you were DC, you literally could not do that. You send out a couple million books a month. There is no way that you could possibly ever manually deal with that overhead. In fact, that's why they have Diamond. Diamond deals with those kind of stupid things for them so that they don't have to. All right. That was a very, very long-winded answer to your question, which let's go back to it, was that I think if the industry let me close with this statement. I think if the industry had never abandoned returnability, and I know why they did. There was a lot of pain in the 90s because Marvel destroyed the industry with bad decisions, which I kind of talked a little bit about yesterday in a video. And that was the only way they could salvage it is, hey, let's drop this returnability. Let's just have this one distributor. Let's streamline everything as much as we can because we're scraping to the bone to live. And when you get into that world, things like quality, things like being nice are very easy to throw to the wayside just on the quest for survival. And so returnability got thrown away in the late 90s because of that, when everybody moved to just shipping with Diamond, because Diamond was the only game in town. Everybody else went out of business. Capital City, out of business. Heroes World, out of business. If you were a distributor, by the end of the 90s, either you went out of business or Diamond bought you to save your business. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. All right, I have just run out of tea here, and I think I'm starting to lose my voice. So I think I should probably call the stream here. So Ninja Weasel, Eli Easy. Oh gosh, I'm missing somebody. I thought. Maybe not. Thought I saw a third person in the chat, but maybe not. Okay, well, and the lurkers, who I don't know, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know the audio quality is not what I wanted because I want to do this on my headset. And we had some weirdness at the beginning of the stream because my desktop betrayed me once again. But maybe next week we'll figure it out. Maybe next week we will absolutely figure this mess out. You all take care of yourselves. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks so much for the thoughtful discussion, the humor, all that good stuff. Oh, hold on. Forget it. Oh, Mango Bet. Thank you, Ninja Weasel. I knew I missed somebody. You know, I used to forget it. Half the issues of X-Men are like, ooh, spicy take. I'm going to throw that up on the screen. And we're going to end on that thought right there. That is spicy. I can feel the heat coming off my monitor of my laptop all the way over there. Maybe it's just the fact that my computer is right here and it is radiating like, whoa. But I'm definitely feeling the heat from that, man. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.